Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
For the topic, and then we're like, why did we not hit record?
Yeah,
I love
exactly. Yeah,
so you record.
My assistant chief will love that.
I'm going to talk about it. What's up,
up?
y'all?
What's up, Matt?
It's episode 105 on the Cool Fireman Podcast. Brian from East Coast.
Not Matt Roth, Matt Coffin.
Yeah, no doubt.
Assistant.
Who's gonna host tonight? Doug, you do it. I did it last time.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 100 and something or other. I don't know. I've been drinking vodka and Clementine juice for hours, so I don't know what time it is. But hey, we're gonna do this thing. So look, episode 104, 5, something like that. Is that right?
5.
Okay, 105. I was close. See, there you go. Boom. There you go. You just got me and Brian and Unkie tonight. But hey, we're gonna do the damn thing, all right? So we want to shout out, of course, like always, Big Unk for sponsoring us and helping out with stuff.
Yeah.
The top 10% in the barbecue world championship. Let's talk about it.
Oh, the barbecue season that we entered was the Chipotle in the American Royal competition, and we're in the top 10%, tied for 24th. It's fantastic. Right now, we're getting ready for it's barbecue season this month. So if you sign up for the newsletter, there is a promo discount in there. Also, we have a few mini samplers left, which is about a little over 2 ounces of Elizabeth salt, the salt-free garlic and herb, the Coastal Cajun, and the Chipotle. They're a perfect gift to give for Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up. And that's the last of them. They're limited. Once they're gone, they're gone.
I gave him out as Christmas gifts a couple years ago. Great stuff.
Yes.
Hey, tied for 24th out of like 250 or so, yeah?
Something like that, yes.
There was a large number.
It was a large number. Some big names in there. I'm not going to name them. I'm just really proud of one company that I beat 7 of all their seasonings. It's a big company, and they're very good and very delicious, and I beat 7 of them with 1. So I'm very proud of Chipotle. It's got a little bit of heat, smokiness, a lot of bold flavor to it.
I put it in my hamburger tonight. Of course, it's Cinco de Mayo. We're recording on Cinco de Mayo. This ain't going to drop till the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th. I made tostadas tonight, and I used Unkie's Chipotle in my ground beef. So, yeah. So shout out to Unkie for that. And hey, shout out to Tom over at the Burn Box and the Electors Club. If you haven't checked it out already, check out Doug's Burn Box review. Coming to you monthly. Every month.
And I found my coins, by the way. So
so you don't have to beat a kid now. That's awesome.
No doubt.
Hey, so appreciate everything they do for us, man. We couldn't do this without them. We really appreciate it. So other than that, man, we need to get to our moment of silence. So as always, we do a moment of silence for any brothers and sisters that have passed in the line of duty. And a special shout out to, I've met this guy, Steve Pope, Kansas City. And everybody knows about the Kansas City firefighter paramedic that was horrifically murdered in the line of duty. I mean, it's absurd. It's beyond words. So special shout out to Kansas City right now. Brian, you got?
I was going to say, I've got 2 guys that I worked in prevention with as far as investigators that have died. And I am pretty sure that at some point it is occupationally related, just because of exposures, those carcinogens, digging all those years and breathing in all that stuff. So I want to give a shout out this week to Ken Bogan and Craig Yarborough. Both of those were kind of forefronts in North Carolina. So
y'all join us on this moment of silence. Well said, boys.
Well said.
You know, touching on what you just said, Brian, I don't know why the fire marshals don't show up more often and stuff, because like you said, the after action stuff and the walking through and the digging, when even though the air monitoring, it might be copacetic for non-SCBA, like the amount of carcinogens that they dig through to try to find the cause is astronomical.
Yeah, there's a big push right now in the prevention world to really wear particulate respirators
Mhm.
That's a big thing just because of the amount of exposure that the fire marshals have been. It's unreal. I mean, days, just like in the fire service, just as operational guys, we'll blow our nose and out comes the black stuff for 2 or 3 days later. Right.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's uncalled for. It needs to be done differently, but it's a culture thing, right? I mean, it's already, there's this shift away from operations. So the last thing you want to do is look just that much more uncool, right, in the fire marshal's office, and then walk in there with a particulate respirator. So, but it's a culture change, and it's going to take it whether you're in operations or in prevention. It's taken a shift. So, and that's not a jab at them. That's culture wide, and that's years of not knowing, right? So we're changing the mindset everywhere.
So current events, what have you guys been done in the last week? Anything cool?
Well, I booked by the time this plays. Well, actually, we're going to a Hurricanes game. Hurricanes are in the playoffs. So, I bought, some tickets, for that. Adam and I are going to be meeting up, for Got to Be in C, a little collab thing that we're going to be doing together down at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Adam, you want to tell them about that?
We're going on a date. Jealous.
And I'm bringing my wife, so there's that. And
now it just got weird.
Well, and he's also bringing his buddy, his fluffer, good old Ronnie.
Yeah, we got Ronnie coming.
Can't wait. Ronnie's gonna be my date.
I bet you wouldn't tell Ronnie to his face.
And your wife is going to just walk off. She's gonna get tired of us, and then you're gonna be the third wheel because me and Ronnie are gonna be best friends.
That'll be fine. Whatever.
When is that?
It's May 16th. May 17th. May 17th.
Yeah.
Saturday, May 17th. Yep.
If you like to join us, Doug, should be at Raleigh.
Raleigh at the State Fairgrounds.
Well, let's just take a peek.
So you're more than welcome to join us.
I happen to be off May 17th.
Well, you're more.
Let's look at the calendar. And I don't have anything on our calendar from my wife.
There you go.
Maybe I'll show up.
You can come to my house and I'll drive the rest of the way.
Whoa. And I can bring you your stuff finally.
Doug's not going to come. He's not gonna...
What time are you leaving?
I was thinking sometime on it. It's like a 2 hour drive from my house.
Yeah.
I don't know from you.
So,
because I worked the day before, so I'd have to come straight from work to your house.
No, that's fine. If you do something like that, I'll wait for you. Ain't the big deal.
I will wait for.
It's gonna be a day trip because the next day, my wife's got to work, and so I'll have the twins.
Well, I will.
All three kids to myself.
I will talk to the bride when we get off of this and figure it out.
Okay,
let's do it. Let's make it a trip.
So let's talk about my current events because goddamn it, it's special to me.
Okay.
Did
you get proof? Did you get your West Broad hat approved?
Can we not talk about that right now?
Oh, I thought that's what we were going to bring up.
My West Broad hat is still not approved for duty wear. But a couple of days ago, 3-4 days ago, my wife and I went up to Colby's Crew Rescue, which is just short of Charlottesville, just outside Charlottesville, Virginia. Here, they're horse, donkey, and miniature horse rescue. And we were looking at yearlings because my wife wanted a yearling, a young horse, to work with, and we found one that was like a redhead with this long, beautiful flaxen mane. And I was like, God damn, I love that horse.
Now, this is the guy who gives me crap about using words nobody understands, but he's just used 2 and 3 sentences. But go ahead.
Well, long story short, I fell in love with her. And $800 later, before we left that day, we'll come back and get her Monday. Well, we didn't wait till Monday. We went yesterday on Sunday and picked her up. So we picked up this beautiful horse that was named Penny, and I have named her Reba McIntyre because she's a redhead with big hair. I mean, I'm not kidding. Her mane is like almost the width of her neck. It is, as a 2-year-old, her mane is it's beautiful. So yeah, I've got a beautiful 2-year-old filly named Reba McIntyre now that I'll probably die before she will, to be honest with you, because she's gonna live to be 30. And if I live another 28 years, man, shit, that's a good run. Like, I'm probably not gonna make it to 73. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot.
My liver can't stand it.
Yeah, like I don't like she'll probably outlive me. But anyway, long story short, she's a beautiful horse. Check out my social media. You'll see her. She's gorgeous. We just let her out. We had her isolated yesterday. We just let her out, and she and not our oldest mare, but our boss mare have really paired up. And I think that mare Luna acts like it's her mama now. So yeah, so really happy about that. Anyway, transitioning into what we want to talk about tonight. Segue, as Brian would say. So kind of related to FDIC, like, so hypothetically, if you go to a trade show, if you go online, if you go to what is this thing called, Brian? Taste of NC?
Got to be NC. It's like it's an exhibit show. Yeah.
Yeah. So wherever, if you see a piece of equipment, a piece of apparatus, a piece of clothing, anything like that you're like, hey man, my department doesn't have something like that. I wonder if we could utilize that. That would be great. How does that look at your department, and how do you go about sending that up the chain to whatever approval needs to be had? Hey, you know what, man, that might save us money, and it might be more efficient. So how does that look for you? Who wants to start? Unkie?
I'll start because there's a break outside. I got a bunch of freedom flying around out back. No, just all right. So, like in my department, we have chiefs that go to these events and stuff like that. Currently here in the federal, there is no money. Everybody says that like for certain things, but it really is on this administration. All of our credit cards have been cut off, so we can't order supplies. We can't order toilet paper, and this is why we hoard it for all these years. For years, like during administration changes, credit cards are always cut off.
You mean like presidential changes?
Yes.
Okay.
The credit cards are cut off. They're just trying to see where everything's at, well, which is fine. We went. I don't know. I think the credit cards are still cut off, and a lot of our budget money is zero. Like into March, April, we can't spend a single penny on anything. So,
are you guys July to July fiscal year?
October.
Okay.
Yeah, October is when the budget's all
so
supposed to be signed.
You got a long ways to go if you don't have any money till October.
Yeah. So, when the whole administration started with Doge and Elon Musk, all his stuff, our chief came around, talked to everybody. He's like, we're well into March, and I've never been in the fire department, and we're from January to well into March, we had no money to buy anything. So it's really tight for us. But when we do have money, we just have to fill a rec form, get some quotes, and justify whatever we need and why we need it. A lot of times it does get to creative writings because, right in there, safety, this policy says I need to be doing this. This will do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, the majority of the time, we do not get what we ask for. They just kind of show up and give it to us, or they'll say, we don't have the money for that. And in the year, they'll yell out, we have X amount of dollars. I need all these recs. And every single of those recs will be disapproved because there's no money. So
Brian, you're the more administrative. You're the more you're the most administrative of the group. How does that look for you if a fireman comes and says, "Hey, chief"?
Yeah, so I'm the DC of things, right? Not necessarily the DC of people.
This is even better for you then. Yeah. Right up your alley.
This is my little red wagon.
No money. He's the one that tells me there's no money.
Well, it's all on how you and how you can lay it out, right? So what I always tell people is, what is it that we're trying to buy, right? Well, let's back up. Tonight, I had dinner with a crew, and I tried to explain to them that, and several times I've tried to explain with them that there are processes. Sometimes there are things that we can buy in just the regular budget process. And so depending on when your ask is, it could be that that's a replacement of an item, right? So let's say it's a forcible entry tool, right? And it's a widget for a widget on a forcible entry tool. We probably got a line item for that. The question is is how much more is the new widget than the old type of widget, right? And so kind of to Adam's point,
probably more.
well, yeah, it's probably more, but hopefully if we've done our job right, we have factored in the new shiny widget and the new shiny widget increase in price.
Yes.
If we've done our job.
If you've done the budget correctly, you're expecting
Right.
those yeah.
Yep, we were expecting those changes. However, if you come and you say, hey, I've got this new whatchamacallit and I really, really want it, and we didn't ever budget for a whatchamacallit, well, then you may have to wait. If that's, like you said, to your point, Doug, if our budget takes effect in July and you come in September, well, then I have to submit for that in September, October, November, somewhere in there. Then I got to wait all the way for June to roll around. And then I've got to get bids and estimates and hope that it didn't get cut next year.
Or forgotten, yeah.
Well, hopefully there's a process to make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
Right? So the answer is if you came to me or if Adam came to me and says, hey, I got this whatchamacallit, I saw it at this trade show. I was at Safer in August and I really want this. Well, we didn't budget for that. So I need for you to remind me, here in a couple months so I can put it in the budget. Okay, great. And then you see me 6 months later and you're extremely frustrated because you're like, hey, I sent you that thing. And I go, well, yeah, it's in the budget, but we won't adopt it until June.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? What do you mean you won't adopt it till June? And I'm like, yeah, we don't have it. So then if it gets adopted, then we won't buy it till almost a year later. So it's very frustrating for that. I completely understand, right? Because we're in a service where we expect it to arrive on scene in 4 minutes, 90% of the time, yet we get the tools 18 months after we've asked for it. Extremely frustrating, right?
That's the red tape that everybody hears.
Yeah, and it's extremely frustrating. So again, you guys heard me talk about this in Indy, right? Risk, probability, frequency, and cost. Everything that we do is based off of that, right? Those 4 things. So when you go to that chief officer and you say, hey, I want this, those 4 things, if you can justify that, instead of saying, hey, I went to Safer, or I went to this expo, I saw it was really, really cool, it'll help us, whatever. No, you need to base it based off of those 4 things. What's the risk if I don't have it? What's the probability that I'm going to use it? What's the frequency that I'm going to use it? And then what's the cost? Those are the 4 things that chief officer is going to need to be able to keep it in the budget. So that way it can be used. So that's kind of the process. That's probably more than what you asked for. No, but those are some of those things.
That's what Joe Fireman doesn't know. He just says, hey, chief, my chief comes by, at least once every 2 shift days, if not every shift day, because he was born and bred at my fire station. So he comes by more often, which is fine because we love him. But it's what Joe Fireman walks up to the chief says, hey, man, I think this would be great for my ladder truck or my fire engine. But he or she needs to say, look, man, I love that. That's great. However, this has to happen. A, B, C, D, E, and sometimes F have to happen before that. And like you just said, the risk, the probability, the frequency, and the cost are all tailored into that. And look, Doug, what is the risk if we don't have it? How often will we use said thing? And that might even require, hey, look, man, I need a small book report on why we should adopt this. I know we have an idea process, which is what we send things up through. Adam wanted to be a smart ass earlier and ask about my West Broad hat. My West Broad hat was sent up through the idea process. I don't know. It's been 12, 15 months ago now, and I still don't have it approved yet. It's in the works. And as I did get some confirmation about it about a couple months ago. So it's about a year, but regardless, I digress. We have an idea process where things go up through whatever chain that is. And that eventually goes to the battalion chief, the shift commander, the deputy chief, and then eventually the fire chief, and maybe even the board of supervisors, depending on what it is. But you're right, Brian. It's what is the probability we're going to use said product or apparatus or whatever you're mentioning, and does it make sense for us? Like, I don't know if anybody sent this up the idea process, but about a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I'm not sure. In the last 2 years, we got rid of all of our gas. Every fire engine had a gas chainsaw. We got rid of those and we went to battery. Every fire engine now has a battery steel chainsaw. I don't like them. Again, I wasn't in that process. I didn't make those decisions. But I don't want to have to call for a truck company if I need a gas saw, because this little battery saw doesn't have the ass that I needed to have. Now, does it work? Sure, it works, but it works for the Joe homeowner who's trimming limbs. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I get it, man. And again, I'm not putting my department down, Matt, Mr. Coffin. I'm not putting my department down. Battery saws are not what we need on the fire engine. Not the ones we have anyway. We have battery cutoff saws as well, K12 saws. And we took the one off my truck and put it on my engine. And we use it for vehicle fires. Main is all we use it for. We'll cut the notch in the hood to pop the hood. But it's the same thing. Like, you're limited by, you can't lean on that thing. You can't, you've got to take it slow and let the blade cut. But that eventually, all the battery changeover that we had went through that idea process and went through, and granted, batteries have come a long way. Don't get me wrong. What we have is great. However, when we get called for a tree down, most of the time we have to say, look, man, we can't handle that tree because that battery saw, the bar on that thing is 12 inches, 14 inches, maybe. It's just not going to do what we need to do for what we need it for.
Yeah. And that can be problematic. I want to go back to something, if I can. And it's kind of to what you were saying was, so let's go back and say, what happens if you don't get the product or while you're waiting on the product, right? So if you saw something and it was great, I always talk to my firefighters about that. And I say, hey, you saw that. That's great. Right. And in your mind, you almost think that the world is going to stop if you don't get that whatchamacallit. And you're like, well, we've got to get it, Chief. This thing is the greatest thing ever. And you write it up. You get all those 4 things. But what happens if you don't? What happens if the manager cuts it? The fire chief sold on it, right? But what happens if it gets cut? You better have a plan to do something or to evolve differently if it does not happen, right?
I asked for a hovercraft after FDIC, and I immediately got told no.
How's that working out for you?
Not good. I also asked for cowboy hats, and my battalion chief, my deputy chief said, I'm like, I think it looks very professional, but either way, again,
and I think
carry on.
I think it goes back to I always tell folks, it's not a no, it's a how and a win, WHEN for the WIN for the win, right? And so if it's that important and it's that needed, hopefully what ends up happening is that through the chain of command, right, including the fire chief to whoever approves his or her budgets, that they're able to get the feedback as to why that's not there. And it could be that it says, it's not that we don't think you don't need it. We think that you need it. It's just that it's not the highest priority, which to your point goes back to about the hat. It's not that they don't want to approve Doug's hat. It's just that at the end of the day, there may not just be enough time to approve Doug's hat, which we've talked about in the past. It's that there's more pressing things. And in the layer of stuff on the desk, unfortunately, Doug's hat gets pushed down to the bottom of the pile. Even though, as fast as it would take to just stamp it and approve it and move on, it's not just about making Doug happy. It's about the other things that go along with it, right? There's probably a policy that has to be updated. There's probably some type of note that may have to go out. I don't know what your process looks like. But in most instances, to approve something like that, there's layers of bureaucracy that comes with approving something as simple as a hat.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just that simple. So it's the same thing with budget. It's the same thing about the whatchamacallits. It's like, hey, I want to buy this. And it may be simple enough, but then what comes along with that new tool? Training, implementation, mounting, POs, all this stuff. So it's not that it's a no in most instances. It's a how and a win. So going back to that, the other thing that I was going to mention is I would highly encourage everybody who's listening, if they don't know the budget process for their department, you should educate yourself. Ignorancy is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's what you do once you know that you're ignorant to something. So everybody who's listening, so you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what do you do with it? Right. So like, I don't know how that happens, or I don't know how they approve my budget. Well, don't sit there and badmouth people if you're not willing to educate yourself on what that looks like. If I went to you at the Firehouse kitchen table and said, what is a CIP? Most people wouldn't even know what that acronym stands for. It stands for Capital Improvement Projects. So what are those big ticket items that your fire department is investing in, right? And the second part of that,
it's an expensive remodel. That's what it is.
well, CIP.
Yeah.
So, and what's the threshold for your department?
Right.
For some,
What is the threshold to make it a CIP? Right.
right. In some departments, because of the way that their department set it up, it could be $10,000. That could be like 2 sets of turnout gear because their budget's so small. In some departments, it could be $5 million. So what is it? And then what's the process? So I learn the budget process, learn how much money your department spends and what they spend it on. And then you'll be surprised that like, oh, I get this now. This becomes a whole lot clearer to me as to how our budget breaks down and the steps that we take to kind of get this stuff done. I think that those are two key things.
Yeah, I dig it, man. Education is key. You got to know, one, how much money we have, and two, where does that money go? And that should be, and if you get any pushback on this, if somebody's wrong, that should be public information, right? Like it shouldn't be a secret, especially to people on the inside who work for the organization, whether it be volunteer or career.
So I want to go back to kind of Adam's point, about the credit cards and stuff like that. Like the military installations, I've talked to a lot of folks and they have a general idea of their budget, right? They don't dive into the salaries. The salaries is controlled through, HR, Department of Navy stuff. But like operationally, those are controlled at least at a regional level, right, Adam?
Hey, my wife walked in with a drink because I asked her to bring one.
Well, that's nice. So Adam, you want to kind of explain what that looks like? I mean, you guys can at least, even on the DoD level side, kind of get an idea of what you're able to spend and the projects and stuff like that, right?
At the regional level, yeah, they get to they're ones that do the budget. And ours is we're unique to our area. We kind of control the budget for Wallops Island, which is a NASA base on the eastern shore of Virginia. And basically all we are is like a bank for them. As soon as that money drops, we stroke a generous amount, a check straight to them and their contractors.
Hey, time out. I want to introduce Dagger. Sorry, this is Dagger. He's a big German Shepherd. Hi, Jagger boy.
You can hear him walking in.
Yeah, he's a giant. He's a sweet dog. Anyway, carry on. While you're on.
Yeah. So they right there take a huge chunk of our money. I actually sat down a week ago. The deputy chief of admin, which is the same thing as Brian, the guy that controls the budgets and purchases, sat there and talked to him. He threw out some numbers at me, and of course I've educated myself about how the budget's done because being a union officer for years. So I mean, I understand the restraints and stuff. We just bought a lot of Scott SCBAs. We switched from MSAs over to Scotts, and that was a big price ticket, of course, because we range over multiple states. Our bases do. But yeah, so they control it. And it's just a bigger picture. We don't see it, so we don't understand why we can't get this piece of gym equipment. I've never seen my department. It says in the budget that they spend X amount of dollars on gym equipment. I've never seen them purchase gym equipment.
And that's one of those things where those are the conversations that you have to have with the chief officers, right? At the end of the day, to have that level of clarity, and, so that way you can understand what people are spending their money on. What folks don't necessarily understand, and this is not to you, this is in general to everybody who's listening.
I'm just thinking of the issues that we have had in the past of the old administration. I like to say the old administration. Everybody that works here gets it. the new administration that's been in place, I think since this January or last January. Anyways, the new administration it's a whole lot better. They're trying to clean out from under the carpet.
No, I got you.
Yeah, and they're doing a fantastic job, but unfortunately, their higher ups don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Like they're going, look, we're not holding no secrets. We're trying to fix this. They're like, don't care. You're still in the hole for that. But they're like, it's not my fault. But yeah, old administration had some very unique expenditures. Like during COVID, spent a lot of fat money on fabric for masks.
The government
And,
just cut off his internet.
Kitten fabric that was eventually thrown away. Anyway, sorry.
So, well, no, you're good. But what I wanted to kind of circle back to is that budget process is important to understand. So let's say, and I do this a lot in my consulting business, is I help departments prepare and plan for catastrophic failures. So it's kind of to your point. Hey, we had this gym equipment in the budget, and then in the middle of the budget year, an engine blows on a truck, right? And it's a 10-year-old truck. You got to get another 5 to 7 years out of it, right? Because the lead time on trucks is 3 years. So the gym equipment budget, it now went to a motor. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought we were going to buy gym equipment. And it was like, well, we were, but that $20,000 just went to a motor on a truck.
Yeah, and our budget, that's all it went to. And we have our trucks are basically impounded. We have a bunch of fixed trucks that are impounded that we're unable to pay for. And we had a horrible garage, and the gentleman has finally retired. But yeah, we spend all of our money on these trucks, and they're not even fixed. And the ones we do get fixed are basically impounded because we can't pay for them.
Wow. Well, and I use that in context to kind of give clarity, right? So most departments should prepare for those catastrophic failures, right? You should be looking at, what are we spending our money on in insurance, right? We may be paying for true replacement, not agreed value on insurance. This is kind of boring, but I know we have volunteers that are listening, right? So imagine like rollovers are a big deal, right? So in Doug's instance, they can go back to the general fund. They've got insurance on it. And that insurance may be on what they call an agreed value. And so let's say it's $300,000 for that truck. Well, if they have to go buy a new one, they'll write a reserve. They'll take the $300,000. That's the down payment on the new truck. They'll just replace it sooner, and then they'll go into their savings account. Well, that VFD, they're not sitting on that kind of money. So they'll spend a little extra money, and they'll turn around and do true replacement. So that engine, they'll have an insurance policy that covers it for the $1 million. Okay.
I hear the jet going by.
Yeah, everybody does. It's the sounds of freedom. So that's one of those things where that kind of reiterates the need to knowing the budget in your department, right? Because you have to, as those chief officers, you have to know, why is it important to spend more money on insurance than maybe some of these other things, like the gym equipment or things. But kind of to Jay Lyon's point, right, about training, if you think that you need the gym equipment while you're getting yourself in that budget hole, if you will, or out of that budget hole, maybe there's a good way that you can kind of think outside the box and train differently while the department spends the next 2 or 3 years building itself back up and kind of getting itself prepared for those kind of things. So anyways, I think this has been a good topic. I didn't think that that's kind of where the topic was going to go tonight, but I think it's been good.
Yeah, for sure. I want to circle back to one thing before we get out of here. When I asked my battalion chief about wearing a Western hat, I got Doug, I don't think Tim's going to go for that. Chief McKay is my deputy chief. His name's Tim. So I asked him, I said, hey, Tim, what do you think? How professional do we look? It was me and my buddy Philip at work. He looks like the Lorax. He's got this huge bushy mustache. And I bought these little cheap $10 Amazon hats, right? Like they're just black, cheap felt, whatever. I sent him a picture with us both wearing them. He was like, I don't think so, Doug. I was like, come on, Chief. What if you call 911 and your world is falling apart for whatever reason at that moment, if you see me and him step off the ride wearing these with these big mustaches, like all your worries go away. Who better to fix my problem than a guy with a big mustache and a Western hat saying, you know what? I got you, man. Whatever your problem is, or sir, I can fix it. I can't get no traction.
I have no doubt. However, I'm with Tim.
No. Doug, I'm with you.
And I'm not asking the department to provide them.
There's other people in public safety.
Just allow them.
Those Western style hats are a part of their uniform.
That was my angle. Was like the guys in some of the Midwest states, like this is part of their uniform in the police world. Well, we're firemen. Okay, cool, man. It's the same with shorts, and
they look professional. The answer was professional, right?
And that was my thing. I said we still look professional, but because it's a nice styled hat, it looks neat, it looks professional, and whatever. I think we're gonna have
shorts.
We're gonna have the shorts conversation before we have the hat conversation.
We have shorts.
I think that is rapidly approaching Tim's desk, and
we have shorts and baseball caps.
He doesn't want. I mean, everybody wears baseball cap. He doesn't want to have that conversation. Well, I say that he has his views. He was a state trooper. My deputy chief was a state trooper. So I understand his uniform and grooming standards issue. But not issue, his stance, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, like his view. Yes. His perspective.
Our state police are squared away.
Yeah, dude, state police are always like the shining, like they're the gold star, like they're the gold standard of what uniform and grooming standards should be. And they always have been.
And every state is.
Yeah, right. And that's universal. Like it's every state's that way. And I get it. One of our neighboring jurisdictions approved shorts recently. And I think it's going to be a hot topic for him from the populace and the union of, look, man, I'm not saying you have to mandate it. I'm just saying make it an option. And because there's a lot of people like, I'm not wearing damn shorts. All right. Bro, I will wear them in a heartbeat. I don't care if it's my medic day. I'm going to wear them.
We've had two rules when we got shorts. The first rule before it was updated was we changed when the military changes to summer clothes. So we're allowed to wear them from April 1st to November 1st.
Yes. Yeah. November. Yep.
Then it was brought up in this last contract negotiation. Now it's temperature. If it gets below like 54, so you're not that person in the heavy jacket with shorts with high boots, kind of looking silly.
I get that.
So, I mean, that's something that you could put on your, you can offer up to sweeten the deal maybe towards the chief. Chief, if you're listening, that's something like that. Because
my assistant will listen for sure.
My brother's department, they had shorts and they got to a point, they got tired of when everybody came off the truck. And this probably Brian's going to like, this guy's wearing shorts all year long. And when he wears them, about that much of his leg shows. Then you got this person wearing the 511 pants. This one's wearing straight pants. That one's wearing a long sleeve shirt. That one's wearing a t-shirt. That one's wearing a collar shirt. Everybody looked different. So
that's really a lot of variability.
Well, one gentleman retired that wears shorts all year round. As soon as he retired, they came out and said, that's it. Everybody's in hard collars, flat pants, boots, squared away till 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah, we went from the button-down shirts to, okay, we're going to wear a polo shirt. And then we went to, all right, you can wear a station shirt, a t-shirt. But other than that, we're t-shirt or polo and station pants. Other than that, like we're really small in our variety, I should say.
And we have other rules that go with our shorts that are loosely followed. I like to say loosely, but we don't follow. Is if you're dealing with a gunshot victim, lots of blood.
Yeah, that's everybody's issue.
Yeah, you must have put on your turnout pants. Well, now that was years ago. Now we are having this whole other issue with turnout gear in general. or across the whole culture of washing it and cleaning it, costing the department money.
Everybody I talk to about shorts, that's their thing. Is like, oh, what you gonna ride the medic? You gonna wear shorts? You gonna be kneeling down people's houses? And what about a trauma situation?
That could be part of the policy. He can say,
and then you
"What,
go
you
into
on
the
the
work.
ambulance?" No.
Yeah, then you go into the workers' comp side of it, and we're going to cover that. And I get it, man.
My
Again,
department's buying us
if-
jumpsuits.
If you're riding the medic, absolutely, you should wear pants.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all. However, if you're assigned to a fire suppression piece, be it an engine or a truck or a rescue, whatever the case may be, I feel like shorts should be optional. Anybody in their right mind who's listening will say shorts under turnout gear is superior to pants. Period. There will be no debate about that. If you want to argue that point, fight your manly. I don't care.
Yeah, but it just comes down to both sides.
Anyway, I think that's going to be, I think that's going to be coming down our pipe soon. And pipe or pike? What is it? Coming down the pipe? Coming down the pike.
I would say P-I-P-E.
Coming in the pipe. Brian?
Yeah. Unless you live in Jersey, then it's P-I-K-E.
Yeah, I got to come down the pike, eh?
Pike. Yeah. We've had this discussion before.
Have we? I missed it. I've always said pipe.
You and I had this discussion.
We did? When?
Yeah. Episode 93, I think. I don't know. Whatever.
Bitch, I don't remember yesterday.
I'm going to save my uniform opinions for another episode because I think I think we should absolutely talk about uniforms soon. Yeah, I think it's so needed. I think that we dove into it a couple episodes back.
Yeah, we got some needed.
And I think it's worthy of its own episode. And so drop a comment. Let us know if you want to do an episode on it. And then also drop a comment and let us know if you know about your budget process. That would be super cool. So
yeah,
great episode.
I want to talk about Matt's badge that he has on his shirt. You know, it's about as big as an iPhone.
Good Lord, I haven't seen.
It'd be the biggest badge in California.
Yeah, he's got a big badge.
Speaking of state troopers and badges, have you ever seen? I don't remember which state it is. I think it's Michigan. Michigan, or maybe it's Massachusetts. It's an M state. Anyways, the state troopers wear it on their pocket, not above their chest, weird. But it's on their actual pocket. It's weird to say.
Weird.
It is.
Hey, here's a little known fact. I wanted to be a state trooper until I don't know, 25 years old. Them fuckers would not hire me. Would not. Took the test twice. Would not hire me. And I think our uniforms are great, man. They have gray with the navy blue stripe, and like, dude, our state police look good. But I wanted to be a state trooper as long as I can remember.
When we go off, I think we need to have
And now they got help wanted signs everywhere. Like, oh, now hiring. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Dude, I don't want to hear it. Get him out of here.
So, funny story. Matt is texting us. We're live on YouTube right now.
How are we live on YouTube right now?
Because he turned something on. So
he likes to play games.
So wait, this is live on YouTube?
We're live right now. We're live.
Was he trying to defend his abnormally large badge?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, let me open up YouTube and see. Hold on. Wait one.
I don't know.
So let's throw some comments to Matt, and let's just irritate him.
I bet you Ricky Bird is watching live right now.
I guarantee it. Bet the house.
Ricky Bird.
Oh wait, I'm signed in on the Cool Fireman. I want to sign.
Don't do that. Hold on. Let's see.
How do you sign out of this damn thing? I don't even know.
Since those guys are playing on the phone, I just want to take this opportunity to thank Matt. You are deeply missed. If you don't hear me the first wave, you hear it through the echo. Thanks to our producer, the night is why I'm echoing.
I want to be on you.
I love him. Echo.
I want to be on you.
Yeah, look, we're live right here.
Holy shit! No way! Look at that.
There it is,
dude. What the hell? That's weird.
There it is, people.
Hey, anyway, yeah,
30 seconds behind.
Have fun, Bon.
We had a good time.
Yeah, man.
For those who are watching, we're we're sharing it. You get your Friday episode fix early. So, who wants to take us out?
Fist
I'll do
bump,
it.
man.
Hey, I apparently am the new face of the Burn Box as far as promotional items go. So
Yes, Big City Doug is.
be on the lookout for more Big City Doug doing reviews of the Burn Box stuff as well as the FD Collectors Club, because I tell dude, this box this month was like $134.
Yeah.
Dude, you cannot, for $55 to $60 a month. How do you argue against that? And I told many people at FDIC, like, look, man, if I get something that I don't use or I already have, I pass it along to my rookie, to somebody, to one of my buddies. Hey, man, you got one of these? Like, it's so worth the money. You have no idea. The Modus tool itself, the Snagger tool that we got this month, was worth more than your subscription cost. I don't know how you. I just don't know how you argue against it at that point. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the kind of stuff that you're going to get. I'm not saying you're going to get a $65 tool every month. However, you're going to get well above your monthly obligation in value every month. So, anyway,
Yeah, next month it's over 130
that's we're $134
for a $60 box. And if you use Burn 20, it's 20% off your first box.
Yeah,
See it on their advertisement all the time.
I don't have a promo code yet, but I'm getting one, so stay tuned for that. But anyway,
Only person that's listening is Ricky and Matt.
Yeah, probably
Right now.
But anyway, on that note, roll it, GG.
Roll it, GG.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!